I'm on the streets in Minneapolis, Minnesota right now, and I just walked upon an ice raid.
I don't even know where to begin with this story. Residents in the city of Minneapolis thought they have caught an ice raid. We're going to stop Homeland Security, we're going to protest, we're going to film it, we're going to obstruct. However, that's not what happened.
Both MPD and the mayor say this was not immigration enforcement, but that it was a federal criminal search warrant for drugs and money laundering.
That is right. Protesters filmed themselves obstructing a legal crime scene, a scene in which there is money laundering and drugs. However, because it was a Mexican restaurant, residents thought it was ICE and Homeland Security with their deportations. Now, we're going to dig into this footage together, but before we start, please like the video. It's the #1 way you can help this channel, but also it helps others see this ridiculous stuff as well. Let us begin.
A group right here trying to block the police from leaving once again. They threw out a bunch of garbages. Now people are trying to create a line out here to stop ICE and FBI.
Right now, that's your city.
So get the fuck out! Fuck you! No, fuck you! Fuck you!
Move on, right now! Back up right now!
So as you can see, this is a very violent event. And again, we just saw somebody litter, we see the obstruction, we see people getting in front of these federal agents. But I have to remind you guys, these people are protesting a drug bust and a money laundering scheme. They think they're protesting an ICE deportation. We'll get to that in a second as far as the local news report, but check out how violent this gets.
So these people are putting up a pretty strong wall here. They're not letting people. The police are obviously retaliating. People are pushing back at the police, showing no respect towards the police. People are upset because the ICE did come through here and they did take some illegal immigrants out of here, of the city.
This is how the sheriff works.
So as you can see, this is no joke. But again, I do want to point out, even when you look at the wording on their vests, it's sheriff, it's ATF, it's state police. It has nothing to do with ICE at all in this situation. Now, this video was sourced from Nick Shirley, so go make sure to follow him, check out his other channels. Thank you for the footage. However, let's look at the local news, how they're reporting the situation.
How many protesters were arrested or detained? And still, at this hour, people seem confused over what actually happened. New TikTok videos and comments I found show footage like this one, only they say the words ICE raid. Both MPD and the mayor say this was not immigration enforcement, but that it was a federal criminal search warrant for drugs and money laundering.
Now, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. We cover events like this every single day, and we make sure people are held accountable for their ridiculous actions. Thank you so much. This is really the first instance we have where we have collateral damage, where politicians are hating on Homeland Security and ICE because they're wearing their masks, and because an operation was done at a Mexican restaurant, that must mean this is a deportation operation. You can see why you have to be very careful now as a politician. You're getting other federal agents hurt, and also now you are hurting these communities by misleading the public.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified.
Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds like a threat. I mean, this clip is only 1 day old, and this is Democrat leadership, Hakeem Jeffries, where he's saying he's going to expose the identities of Homeland Security and ICE. This is a very common argument right now that ICE, they're wearing these masks, and because of that, they are the evil ones. But as we're seeing in these clips in Minneapolis, this is also overextending to other agents who are wearing their mask to protect themselves. This is why this is becoming a big issue. Now everybody who wears a mask is apparently evil and all of their identities are going to be exposed.
I'm on the streets in Minneapolis, Minnesota right now, and I just walked upon an ICE raid. There are protests out here, extremely angry. My heart's beating really fast because I cannot even believe I drove upon this. This is what is going on right now.
So I don't know who this woman is, otherwise I would give her credit. But again, she's walking up on the scene and is like, I cannot believe I drove up on an ICE raid. I can't believe it. But this is a good angle where we can see people really obstruct and assault these federal agents. And by the way, local police is here as well. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Again, these guys have no idea, but in context is crazy. These guys are protesting money laundering and drugs. Imagine, these people are destroying their own city and they're assaulting these officers. I mean, you just saw garbage thrown on this vehicle, which is, you know, that's a bad crime right there. And of course, they're going to get away with it, right? And I know the report said Homeland Security and ICE was there, but in all these clips, it's literally FBI. So what we're seeing are people emboldened enough to mess with FBI and local agents. Again, this is a new America, and I know a lot of people don't like the police force or don't even like the FBI, but to be so emboldened to throw trash and to assault, this is a pretty wild situation.
What's your name?
Really?
They're yelling shame on you for stopping drugs going into Minneapolis. Think about that. Now, I think you'd find this interesting. Of all people, you would think Tim Walz would be all over this, especially if this was a deportation in his state. Absolutely not. Governor Tim Walz is not talking about anything, nothing at all that has to do with that operation. You want to know why? Because it's his own citizens beating the crap out of federal agents and local law enforcement. Obviously, he's not going to put that on blast. So that right there is enough as a red flag. Governor Tim Walz knows that's a terrible situation and he's going to look the other way. You can hear people in the background saying, lower your mask.
Lower your mask! Fucking
And the irony of this is you have people wearing their own mask, wearing sunglasses, and trying to protect their identities as well. But the point is this, the whole mask thing that we're hearing from Democrat leadership and other media members, again, you can hate ICE, you can hate these deportations, but we are seeing the extension of the problem. Not only going after ICE agents, but also going after other federal agents who are trying to protect your city. They're not even from your city. These are federal agents protecting your own city, and this is becoming a massive problem.
Ellen Gallus has been at that scene for hours, and Ellen, what are you seeing right now? Well, guys, there is still a lot of activity here at this intersection. Take a look behind me. You can see this intersection is sort of unofficially blockaded here at this hour right now. There's also still a lot of confusion tonight. According to Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, federal agents were here executing a search warrant for drugs and money laundering. But one of the reasons so many people rushed to this area and were so upset is that they were convinced this was an immigration raid.
Where's your badge number?
Cell phone videos capture the trucks and the federal agents as they rolled up to this street corner at Lake in Bloomington. One witness even captured some of the friction between law enforcement and bystanders. The focus...
Yeah, you can't put your hands on law enforcement. This is becoming another new norm in all of these situations where people are not only throwing trash at law enforcement, they're putting their hands on them and then get mad and say, hey, you put your hands on me. But I want to ask a question. Where is the mayor? Why didn't the mayor run out there to stop everything? The federal government is trying to help out his city.
Between law enforcement and bystanders. The focus was this Mexican restaurant on the corner. It has since been locked up and closed. According to a statement released by the city of Minneapolis, multiple federal agencies were here executing a search warrant for drugs and money laundering. There were no arrests made, and Minneapolis police arrived at the scene once a crowd started to gather to help with crowd control. All of this, a reminder that emotions are running high right now, and there's a lot of uncertainty around scenes like this one.
Notice how none of these protesters are going to get blamed. Everything is going to be not the protesters' fault. They were just confused. But why would people be so emotionally invoked? Why would all of these protesters just run out there immediately? It has to do with the fact of the image of ICE or the portrayal of ICE. Do you really think all of these people would have showed up if this restaurant right here they knew was a drug bust and money laundering? Do you really think they'd all show up for this? I doubt it.
Most of the people who rushed to the scene believe this was a federal immigration
Like, how do these people know to show up with these flags? What is going on here?
raid and wanted to send a message of solidarity.
A show of force, a massive show of force with Bearcats, tanks, really, and for what? What did they do here today? They didn't. What did they take? What we noticed is that they're trying to scare the community, and the community showed up and said, "No, we will not be afraid today."
And these guys inadvertently or purposely, now they actually made the community 10 times worse. Now, what Tom Hman is about to say, this is the true backbone of this entire situation.
Loving Democrats. Tom, ICE agents deal with a lot out there when they're in the field. It's dangerous, very dangerous work. And you heard that one bystander who filmed himself and then posted it on social media that he wanted a bullet in their heads. Your response to that and all the rhetoric that led up to that?
It is disgusting. And a lot of our congressional representatives who are vilifying ICE and the Border Patrol every day, they're driving this hate. And I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before there's an incident where an ICE agent is going to have to take a life or an ICE agent is going to lose a life.
Vilify, I think, is an understatement. What we're seeing is sort of like what MSNBC did during the election, where they tried to portray Donald Trump and Elon Musk as these World War II figures, as the oligarch, as the worst people ever. This is what we're seeing again, and we know this could become very dangerous. We know people went after Trump.
I mean, here's the truth. Under President Trump, since he's been back, let me tell you what ICE and the Border Patrol has done. They gave us the most secure border in the history of this nation. Fentanyl trafficking is down over 50%, which means we're saving lives from overdose deaths. Sex trafficking, women and children, is down significantly. Migrant death, over 4,000 aliens died making the journey. They're not dying because they're not coming. Americans, 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl. Like, again, fentanyl is under half of what was coming across. President Trump saving lives. The men and women of ICE are saving lives every day. And if you look at the numbers don't lie. Majority of people ICE is arresting are criminal illegal aliens, public safety threats. And the non-criminals, most of them are scooped up in sanctuary cities. And you're right, the world's upside down when the guy that carries them badge and guns, the bad guy, and the ones who break the law are the victims. It's just terrible. It's upside down. It's just incredible.
First off, I understand the concern off the bat because I had many of the same concerns. Trump has created an environment of understandable fear.
So this is all Donald Trump's fault. That civilians in the area stopped a drug bust. It's Donald Trump's fault.
Created an atmosphere where distrust isn't just the norm. In fact, sometimes it's appropriate. And so when I first learned about this federal action, which, by the way, was yesterday, I had several questions, and they're the same questions that a whole lot of members of our community had, which was first, is this federal action focused on immigration enforcement? The answer was no. Is our Minneapolis Police Department involved in it? The answer is also no. The chief can elaborate on this, but the work that our Minneapolis Police Department is doing, and in fact is charged with doing, is keeping people safe.
So this is a common occurrence as well. I've been covering a lot of these situations on my video, especially what happened up in Worcester, Massachusetts, where local police showed up because ICE was being surrounded, and the community turned on the police, and the police turned on the community and said, you guys were assaulting us, and vice versa. But again, a lot of the community leaders say, well, this is actually all of Trump's fault. Because of Trump, ICE is coming into our communities trying to make it safe, which was not the case here, but still, and it all gets flipped on the Trump administration. So you can see how, these local leaders or community leaders, they are not willing to take responsibility for their own residents not being educated in the situation because this mayor didn't show up to the scene to stop everybody.
And so when you have a standoff between people who are protesting and federal agents, one of our jobs is, yes, to keep people safe. Were we involved in the federal action? The answer is no. Are we involved with keeping people safe in our city? The answer is absolutely. And again,
this is the most Uno reverse card answer I've ever heard. We are there to protect the people who are throwing trash and spitting and punching agents. What?
We made clear this was an action not focused on immigration enforcement, and there were no arrests made. The chief can elaborate, the sheriff can elaborate on what specifically this action was about, but for the detailed breakdown of who was involved and the agencies that were involved, you can certainly go to them. But I'll also say that my job as mayor is to learn the facts, get properly briefed with what is happening, communicate out accurate information to the public, and also provide direction to our respective departments to do the job that we are charged with doing. We shouldn't be countering the kind of chaos and panic that is pushed out by Donald Trump with our own brand of chaos and panic. We shouldn't see the opposite of extremism to be the opposite extreme.
If you're waiting for an apology, I have not watched this clip yet. I don't think an apology is coming. I don't think that's what we're about to see right now, because that would be an admission of guilt that he messed up, and I don't think this mayor is willing to say that he messed up.
And so that's the work that I'm charged with doing as mayor. I take that work very seriously. And as to the question, what was I doing yesterday? The answer is my job. And I'm happy to elaborate on that.
Now, the good thing for this mayor is that the residents of his city didn't technically stop a deportation or anything that has to do with ICE. Because if that was the case, obviously this mayor would be getting a phone call, and Tom Hman would be showing up to his city as well to figure out, how can we squash this and what the heck are you doing? What I do want to point out is this. I actually think it's even worse. Now you have federal agents who are trying to do their jobs, legally speaking, who are going to go into cities, and because they're wearing a mask and trying to protect themselves, now they have to assume everyone is going to hate them, even though they're trying to protect the city and the United States. And guess what? Our taxpayer money is now being wasted because we have elected officials who are unwilling to state, maybe we should calm down with the whole face mask thing, because that's a general practice across the scene. By the way, even in the U.S. military, we wore face masks. Are you going to tell the U.S. military, Special Forces, Navy SEALs, you guys are being cowards, pull it down? I don't think so. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. I will definitely be covering this story if more comes up. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, or comment. Thank you for everything. God bless, and we'll see you all later.